Hello, hello. So let's continue with John 4, verse 1. Now, when Jesus learned that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus was making and baptizing more disciples than John, although Jesus himself did not baptize but only his disciples, he left Judea and departed again for Galilee. See, that's another thing about Pharisees. It's one thing that they hallucinated about Christ, but they couldn't even gossip properly. He left Judea and departed again for Galilee, and he had to pass through Samaria. So he came to a town of Samaria called Sychar, near the field that Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, so Jesus, wearied as he was from his journey, was sitting beside the well. It was about the sixth hour. A woman from Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink," for his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, How is it that you, a Jew, ask for a drink from me, a woman from Samaria? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. So you have to understand that between the Jews and the people from Samaria, the Samaritans, there was this big clash. They really did not like each other. The Jews disliked the Samaritans because they didn't think them to be a pure blood. Because what happened was, when the Jews were taken into captivity to Babylonia for, excuse me, 70 years, when they came back, the Samaritans, they moved to the north, and they tended to intermarry with other nations, with people around from that area, and the Jews thought that they were in pure blood, which is sort of ironic because, in a sense, because if you know history, you know that in the last century it was precisely them not being pure bloods one of the reasons why they were hated by the Germans. But in any case, the Jews weren't any different either, and we aren't any different either than others. And that's, I think that's the moral of the story, in a sense, from one aspect anyway, that the Jews thought that although the Samaritans were not supposed to intermarry with others, but the Jews were doing other things that they were not supposed to do, but they thought they were somehow better than the others. But they weren't keeping what was required of them. They kept coming up with all sorts of oral law, so that they came up with some sort, all kinds of oral law, so that they would do away with what was written in the scriptures, because it was easier to be holy outwardly. And I think some Christians are guilty of this as well. They think that if they are pretending to be holy, or they are holy outwardly, then it is pleasable to God. But in another sense, you'd have to be a closet atheist to lie to God. That's my opinion anyway. And then the other thing is, so there isn't any point to look at the differences between each other, especially if you're a Christian, between Christian denominations, or even, excuse me, members of the same congregation. Because what is the point? Just because others have different sin than you, you're not any different, because you have a sort of sin. And where you're weak, where you sin more than someone else, then that person is strong there in that area of their lives. So Jesus said in, let me just find, in Matthew 5:43, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends his rain on the just and on the unjust." You have heard that it was said, right? So when Jesus says you have heard that it was said, it means that it wasn't in the scriptures, like I mentioned, it was in the oral traditions. So they came up with these oral traditions just to make things easier for themselves, but they didn't capture what the law was supposed to be, which was to love your neighbors. It was supposed to draw people closer to God, not drive them away from him with all the superficialities. And to say, well, pray for those who persecute you. People think it's an impossible thing to do, but I can tell you from experience, there was this person at work who used to be my boss, and she used to bully me for fun. But you see, instead of wishing that she would die and even to have any ill will towards her, the only thing I did was I just kept praying for her every day. I kept praying for her. I was blessing her life, blessing her family, and see, it got me through the day a lot better. It was better for me as well, because I read it somewhere that to envy someone or to hate someone or to be angry at someone, it's like drinking venom or poison and wishing that the other person would die, because it destroys you from inside, not the other person. And it's been shown by psychology as well that people who have sort of a unfinished business with others, or who are angry or hateful, they are a lot less healthy than other people. So whenever you have something in your heart, just pray for the individual, pray for the person, pray for in that situation. Just pray every time, because that is the power of God. That's how you can get close to God, and that's how you can get through life. Because whenever you approach a subject in a prayerful manner, ask the counsel of God, and just pray into the situation and just bless other people, even those who persecute you, you're going to have a lot healthier life. You're going to be happier, and it's going to be a lot easier to get through a given situation. So I'm really hoping that you will take this to heart and start praying when you have problems, instead of trying to find a natural solution to things. Amen.